Hey everyone, is your LMS working? Okay, since it's not only for me, it's okay.
Good afternoon to everyone. Do you hear me and do you see me? Just confirm
Yes.
and write it in the chat or unmute your mic. Thank you. So we have, as some of you wrote down already to the chat, we have some problems with the LMS. So we are trying to figure it out. So LMS is unacceptable for now. So as I said, we are trying to figure it out the LMS. Yeah. So give me a. Yeah, so sorry. So as I said, the LMS is not working. As a consequence of this, unfortunately, the worksheets are not working as well, and the attendance is not working as well. So we have to like solve this situation, but you can write down your name in the beginning of this class and then at the end of this class to confirm your attendance for this ground lesson number 4. Yeah, so please, I would like to kindly ask you to write down your real full name into the chat. Not nicknames, full name, yeah, please, because I will put your name like to the attendance manually, so I need your full name, real name, as I said. So thank you for that. So those of you who are joining us like right now, so I will repeat myself. Andrei, they will figure it out. The problem is LMS. So LMS will work like tomorrow, I believe. So you will like register for the spring training tomorrow. Yeah, hello Nikita. So don't worry about that. There are a lot of seats, a lot of place for you guys as a student to receive the spring training endorsement to your logbook. So don't worry about it. Yeah. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, so to the chat, only 15 people wrote down their name. So I would like to ask the other one, please write down to the chat your name, please, because the worksheets and attendance it's not working. Thank you, Nikita. I appreciate it. Yeah. LMS is not working. Yeah, Ahmed. Yeah. Hi. I saw your name. Ilya Usupov. Thank you. Jeremy Nagoda. Thank you. Leonardo Gomez, thank you as well. Samir, it's your full name? You have only this? Only one name?
Yeah, it's my full name, Samir.
Okay. I'm just asking, just to confirm it, yeah? Thanks. So it looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thank you, Manar. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so it looks like it's all of us, all looks like. And then, as I already said, you will write down your name at the end of this class. So sorry about like this problem. Sorry for this problem that the LMS is not working and worksheets and the attendance like button on in the worksheets is not working as well. So sorry for that. And as I said, our IT department is trying to figure it out, and I hope they will figure it out like during this lesson. But anyway, so let's start. Nikita. I try to listen and it's more traffic. The abbreviation uniform echo is Sheremetyevo, right? In Moscow. Yeah, but Sheremetyevo is like, it's a bigger airport than Prague. Yeah? In Prague, you have like some couple of flights only to Amsterdam, maybe to London, and then Dubai, Emirates, Dubai, Prague, and Doha, with Qatar. Yeah. Yes, Samir. Thank you for your full name, Shaikh Samir. Thanks. So Yusuf Yash, I don't know if you wrote down the name. Please write down to the chat your name because the LMS and worksheets are not working. So please write down full name for attendance, as the other one did it. Okay, so I think we can start. So as you can see, I hope I'm interesting. So as you can see, and I hope you can see the screen which I'm sharing with you. So today's lesson, it will be about the flight environment, which is PPL Gram lesson 4. And basically, we will speak as it's coming from the name of the topic today. Thank you, Khalid. I would like to ask you to write down the name to the chat because the attendance is not working. So just for the attendance, yeah, thank you for that. So flight environment. So basically, we will speak about some like regulations. Then we will speak about the general rules. We will speak about the right of way. We will try to speak about the aerodromes in general, parts on the circuit. So partially I like touched this topic on Monday about the communication, but today it will be more precise and more detailed. So we will speak about the markings on runways, markings on taxiways, as well. We will speak about yeah, Yusuf, please write down the name, your full and real name, because the attendance is not working in LMS, because the LMS is not working. So write down your full name in the beginning of the class and in the end of this class as well, because I will confirm your attendance manually after today's class. Yeah, I will fill the dispatches manually. So please, please write it down. And as I said, we will speak about the runway lightnings, markings, as well about the taxiway lightnings and markings, about the marshalling signals, and also we will divide the airports into controlled and uncontrolled airports as we did already on Monday. And of course, it will be the same structure as we had on Monday. So 3/3 with 2 breaks. So first third, it will be like until like 6 p.m. locals or 5 p.m. UTC, 1 break, 15 minutes, then finish it until 7:10 with the second break, and then until 8 p.m. local. Of course, do not hesitate to ask me the questions, because like looks like that the worksheets will not work for today. So Jeremy, as I said, our IT department is trying to figure it out, this situation with the LMS, and I'm pretty sure that they will figure it out today evening or maybe tomorrow morning. So you will have access, don't worry, to homeworks, readings, and the quizzes as well. Yeah?
I have another question, if I may ask.
Sure, sure, sure.
It's just about I got a bit confused because last time I checked the time for the previous lesson, it was 16:00, but it was UTC, and today it's 17:00, which is local time. And what is the time in the schedule? Is it local? Is it UTC? Because I'm getting a bit confused sometimes.
To be honest, like this is like new for me, and I'm a little bit confused as well. But all the lessons, all PPL lessons, starting at 5 local or 4 UTC. Yeah. So you can write it to your calendar, to your schedule, that all the PPL lessons started at the same time on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And Jeremy, so we are flying blind today. Yeah, partially, but at least we have the presentation, and I can open like some regulation documents. So like partially we are flying blind. Yeah, IFR, yeah, we are following the instruments. Yeah, nice, Nikita. So do some of you have some more question about this? About the problem with LMS, about the problem with the times, or about the problem from the, about some problem from the communication lesson, from the ground lesson 3? Anything?
Yeah, I have to ask some question. May I?
Yeah.
So if I right understand, the Letnany airdrome is in controlled airspace of military airdrome, right?
Letněný aerodrome is uncontrolled airport inside the military controlled airspace of Gbele. Yes.
So when we start the plane, start engine, we have to contact to the radio of Letnany. And
Yes.
then after takeoff, we have to contact with the military airdrome to have clearance to go to the point, Mike as an example.
Exactly. So we are on the frequency, after start, we are on the frequency of uncontrolled airport on frequency like any radio. After departure, we are leaving the circuit and contacting the controlled airport, which is the Gbele Tower on frequency 120.880, and we are requesting for a clearance to proceed to some of the exiting points. So we have Mike, Uniform, Lima, and Romeo. That's correct, as you said.
So we are taking off without the clearance.
Like basically the communication which we are like teaching the students, we are like doing almost the same as in the uncontrolled airport. So we are reporting that we are at holding point, ready for departure, but we are not requesting for the departure, yeah, at the Letňany. So it's uncontrolled airport, but we are like, if you want to do something, we are requesting as well, because we are teaching the students like they are almost like on controlled airport.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Khalid, how can we get the previous talks as I missed last week once? You mean the theories, Khalid? Or which talks? Yeah, theories. So if you like didn't catch the theories from the previous week, you have to wait until the next sessions, until the next like group of the people. Or as Jonah writing down, all the classes are in the LMS, but you have to be in the attendance of the class, because you, according to regulation, you have to attend all the PPL classes, yeah, which is like the one of the conditions to be released for the theoretical exams. And why do you not read back the wind? Because it will be like too long, yeah. Like ATC, doesn't matter if is it on uncontrolled or controlled airport, they are assuming that you receive the wind, yeah, and you have to calculate in your mind. Okay, the wind is coming from that and that direction. I will do crosswind takeoff. I have headwind or slightly crosswind. Yeah. So we are not reading the wind. It will be too long. Yeah, comprehend it exactly. So the most important informations like runway 23 is cleared, or holding short, or line up runway and wait. So we are read back basically these kind of things. Yeah. Anything else, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, go on. Go ahead. Jeremy, as far as I know, it's for 2 weeks. So 1 week, yeah, like. Yeah, state checks. Go ahead, Nikita.
Well, as I saw in the syllabus, I got state checks, and can I change the data of this state check? With whom I have to contact?
Yeah, I know. You have something else. Like I understand. Like I think like the schedule of the state checks, like they are like quite often. So like maybe you can attend like the next day, on the next like week or next month. Yeah, I think it's not a problem to attend other date.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. like Jeremy, to be honest, I don't know like when they are removing the readings from the LMS. Yeah, like you can send the email to the IT department. Yeah, like I know about the LMS, but I don't know about this detailed information. As far as I know, as I said, it's like Joanna wrote down it's for 1 week. So usually it's for 1 week. It's staying there, the homework, the readings as well, and the like the video from the class, the records from the class. Yeah. But like I'm not sure if they are removing the readings. I don't think so. Yeah, to be honest. Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. So it's already like 5:15 local. So I think it's good. It's a good time to start. You can ask me. You can write down to the chat the questions during the lesson and after the lesson, like before the end, as well. So don't worry if you will have something, anything, you will have the break, and I can go like to the IT department and ask. Yeah, so you can ask me. Write it to the chat or unmute your mic. So as I said, today we will have the ground lesson 4, which is about the flight environment. And basically, we will start with the collision avoidance. Yeah, the information about the collision avoidance for the EASA students. Sorry, you can find it in the European standardized rules of the year. That's the regulation. For the FA students, you will have like your own separate lesson about FA regulations, which is called FAR, yeah, Foxtrot Alpha Romeo. So don't worry, you will speak about your regulations, about the US regulations as well. But this visual scanning is like a general. Yeah? It doesn't matter if you are in the Europe or if you are in the India or in the US. So basically, the pilot can contribute the collision avoidance by being alert and scanning for other aircraft. So this is particularly important in the vicinity of an airport. Yeah, that makes sense. I think. So effective scanning, as you can see, effective visual scanning, as you can see on this slide, is accomplished with a series of short, regularly spaced eye movements that bring successive areas of the sky into the center of a visual field. Each movement should not exceed, do you know like how many degrees? Like just guess, yeah. I mean movement of the eyes. Each movement of the eyes, it's less. So each movement should not exceed 10 degrees. Yeah, Joanna, 10 degrees. Yeah, 10 degrees, and each should be observed for at least 1 second to enable the detection. So basically, although back and forth eye movements seem preferred by most pilots, each pilot should develop a scanning pattern that is most comfortable and then adhere to it to assure optimum scanning, even if it entitled to the, for example, the right of way, a pilot should yield if another aircraft seems too close. So as you can see on this slide, the block system of scanning involves dividing your viewing area, like with the windshield, as you can see on this example, into these segments. And then methodically scanning for traffic in each block of airspace in sequential order. Yeah, so basically, then like in front of you, we are using like the information from the clocks. Yeah, so in front of you, it's 12 o'clock. So for example, you are flying in airspace echo, and you are on the frequency of flight information service. As we discussed on Monday, flight information service is providing to us and to other pilots the like very useful information about the activation or about the airspaces, if they are active or no, and then is providing us the very useful information about the traffic. So, for example, in this case, like in the bottom picture image, let's say example that we are flying, as I said, in the eco airspace, and Praha Information or Flight Information Service is informing us, Oscar Kilo Alpha Bravo Charlie, traffic on your 12 o'clock, and is proceeding from left to right. Yeah. Then we have for example, if we will use the example of this upper image, Oscar Kilo Alpha Bravo Charlie, Praha Information, opposite traffic on your 1 o'clock, and is proceeding to the right. Or we can have opposite traffic on 12 o'clock and proceeding to some direction. And after we are clear of the traffic, Praha Information will inform you, Oscar Kilo Alpha Bravo Charlie, clear of traffic. Our response to this, that the Flight Information Service will give us some information about the traffic, we have two options. Do you remember which one? As we spoke about it on Monday. Yeah, negative, looking for the traffic. That's the one. Yeah, very good. And if we can see the traffic, what is the second response?
Traffic inside.
Yeah, exactly. Traffic inside. Thank you. Yeah, traffic inside. It's absolutely and 100% correct. Yeah, Nikita?
May I ask for ATC or tell us where the traffic is if the traffic is not inside?
Yeah, like you mean like to receive like more precise information, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, of course. Basically, it will begin with the Flight Information Service will give you the information where the traffic is. You will say you will respond to this transmission negative, looking for the traffic. You are looking for the traffic, for example, for 30 seconds. Then you can ask the Praha Information. But it works usually like that. If there is like some longer break, the Flight Information Service will give you another information about the traffic.
So they are done waiting about our response if we can't answer them. So we say them that negative looking for traffic, and then in a couple of seconds they will tell us without our request, right?
Yeah, basically they will tell us the new position of the aircraft. So basically, if the aircraft is moving from our 11 o'clock to the right, so it will be on 1 o'clock. So we can't see. We are looking out for the traffic, which is on 11 o'clock. We know that the aircraft is flying to the right to 1 o'clock, but we can't see the traffic. So like, let's say it's 10 seconds, the aircraft moved from our 11 position to 12, and Praha Information will inform us. Okay, so Oscar Kilo Bravo Charlie, aircraft is now on your 12 o'clock. Yeah, so it works like that. So as you can see, LMS is back. So you can try to log in your LMS account, please. Yeah, you're welcome, Nikita. So just try to log in your LMS account, and you'll try if it's working. Yeah, it's working. Yeah. So I would like to open the worksheet for today's lesson. Yeah, like you can write down the mail to the IT department. I did nothing. Yeah, so they fix it, this problem. So not me. Yeah, so the worksheet for today's lesson looks like that. We have I think 13 tasks, and of course, in like some part of the class, I will press this attendance button, and you will just, as you know, like you will press this attendance button, which you will confirm your attendance for this class. So just let me know if the worksheets are working for you, or the LMS is working for you, and then you will proceed. Could you send the link for the worksheet? Of course, Alexandra. Yeah, you're welcome. It works great. So let's go back for the presentation. So as you can see on this examples of these images, like the visual scanning is very important, especially for the VFR, for the visual flight rules for the VFR flying. Yeah. So we have to do the visual scanning very often, basically during all the flight. And basically it's better to do the clearing procedures. Yeah? The clearing procedures, basically the following procedures about which I will speak right now, and the consideration are in place to assist the pilots in collision avoidance under the various situations. Yeah? So for example, before the takeoff, prior to taxiing onto a runway or landing area, in preparation for takeoff, pilot should scan the approach area for possible landing traffic. So executing appropriate maneuvers to provide a clear view of the approaches areas. So that's the reason why we are, for example, at uncontrolled airport. If I open the whiteboard, if I will draw the runway, for example, like that. So this is runway 23, yeah? Example, 23, which is in use, so in this direction. And this is the threshold, and here is the holding point. So for this clearing procedure, that's the reason why we are standing with the aircraft with 45 degrees to the runway threshold, yeah? Because we are able to see and to check the possible traffic on the final, but as well, we can see on the runway if there is something like some obstacle, some other traffic. So basically we can see here and we can see here as well. Then, for example, climbs and descents. We are performing the climbs and descents during the during the climbing and descending in flight conditions that permit the visual detection of other traffic. Yeah. So, for example, you are climbing. You know that you will climb for 2 minutes. For example, you want to climb 2,000 more. So, after 30 seconds, you will just for a second push the nose down, check the space in front of you that there is no traffic because you can't see when you are climbing in front of you. So for a while, push the nose down, check the area in front of you. There is no one, so continue climb. Yeah. So that's this example. Then, for example, straight and level flight. So during the sustained periods of straight and level flight, a pilot should execute appropriate clearing procedures at periodical intervals. So as well for the straight and level flight. Then on the traffic patterns, if we will take the example of on the traffic pattern, entries into the traffic patterns while descending should be avoided. Yeah, in this example. Basically, if I will click and I will check here, we will see this example. You can see that there is a huge difference between these aircrafts. So basically between the high wing aircraft and between the low wing aircraft. So high and low wing aircraft have their respective blind spots. So basically the pilot of high wing aircraft should momentarily raise the wing into the direction of the intended turn and look for traffic prior to commencing the turn. The pilot of low wing aircraft should momentarily lower the wing and look for the traffic prior to commencing to turn. Yeah, so basically here you can see the blind spots. So for the high wing aircraft, it's the red one on this example. For the low wing aircraft is below. Yeah, so basically below the wing on the right side and on the left side as well. So now we will proceed to the right of way rules. with which you have to be familiar. So before I will speak about these rules right of way. In LMS, if I will click here, so you have basically regulations. You can choose EASA or FAA. So as I said, for FAA, you will have the separate class about your regulations in the US. For the EASA, it's the regulation, as I said, the standardized rules of the air, which is like the abbreviation SERA, which is here. And if you will scroll to the content of this document, of this regulation, you can see rules of the air, flight over the high seas, applicability and compliance, general rules and collision avoidance. So minimum heights, towing, aerobatic flight, avoidance and of collisions. So basically here you can see the right of way. So if I will click on it, so basically I took the informations for this class about the right of way from this document. Yeah. So if you will proceed back to presentation. So basically here you can see the right of way. So first right of way rule is an aircraft in distress. So no aircraft shall fly in such proximity to another aircraft as to create a danger of collision. So the highest priority has the aircraft in distress. Then we have the balloon. Yeah? No formation flying unless both agree. So basically it's without the engine, yeah, balloon. Then we have the glider under the tow. This is the next highest like right of way. And the aircraft is right of way should maintain height and the speed as well. Then we have the glider, which is aircraft give way to less maneuverable aircraft. Then we have the airship. So glider tug combinations are seen as one aircraft. Then we have the helicopter. Police aircraft are exempt. And then microlight. And then the last one is the aircraft. So basically, this is the order of the right of way rules. Yeah, I think like we have some questions in the theoretical exams about this topic. So basically, the right of way, the aircraft that has the right of way, shall maintain its heading and the speed. An aircraft that is aware that the maneuverability of another aircraft is impaired shall give way to that aircraft. Yeah, and then an aircraft that is obliged by the following rules to keep out of the way of another shall avoid like passing over, under, or in front of the other, unless it passes well clear and takes into account the effect of aircraft wake turbulence. Yeah, on this example, right of way rules. So you can see basically who has the right of way in case of landing and taking off. So on the upper image, you have the landing aircraft. So the aircraft which is closer to the runway. So it's on the approach, and it's most probably S number 1. So this one, this landing airplane has right of way, and this airplane must give way to this aircraft. Then we have the takeoff rule, and basically you can see who has the right of way. It's the landing aircraft, obviously, and makes more sense. Basically, the aircraft on the ground is holding short at holding point of the runway, and the aircraft on the ground is give the way to the aircraft on the approach, which is going for the landing. So the aircraft on the approach, this aircraft has right of way in this example of this takeoff right of way rule, and this is the landing right of way rule. So if I will proceed to the next page, next slide. So basically, if we have like approaching head-on when two aircrafts are approaching head-on or approximately so, and there is a danger of collision, each shall alter its heading to the where? To the right. Yeah. During the converging, so when two aircraft are converging at approximately the same level, the aircraft that has the other on its right shall give way except as follows. So power-driven, heavier than air aircraft shall give way to airships, sailplanes, and balloons. Then airships shall give way to sailplanes and balloons, and then the same order. Sailplanes shall give way to balloons, and power-driven aircraft shall give way to aircraft which are seen to be towing other aircraft or objects. So basically, we are like taking all the rules from this image of the right-of-way rules. Yeah. Then we have like the landing rule and takeoff rule, and then we have this one. During the overtaking, an overtaking aircraft is an aircraft that approaches another from the rear on a line forming an angle of less than 70 degrees with the plane of symmetry of the latter. So, for example, is in such a position with reference to the other aircraft that at 9 it should be unable to see either of the aircraft's left or right navigation light. And an aircraft that is being overtaken has the right of way, and the overtaking aircraft no. Yes. So here you can see the examples about which I spoke. So basically, right of way rule. Converging aircraft, the aircraft is the other on its right shall give way. Both of them turning to the right. Approaching head-on, both aircraft shall turn to the right. So boom, boom, to the right. Overtaking, the aircraft being overtaken has right of way. So basically, the overtaking aircraft shall pass clear to the right. This was on the ground, and right of way. This was in the air. Sorry, this one on the ground. So same, converging, the aircraft with the other on its right shall give way. Approaching head-on, both aircraft shall turn to the right. And overtaking, the aircraft being overtaken has right of way, so the overtaking aircraft shall pass clear to the left. Yeah, so that's the difference between the air and between the ground. Like, I mean, on the ground and in the air for the right of way. So if I will basically repeat myself, so emergency landing, which is the aircraft that is aware that another is compelled to land, shall give way, like all the aircraft shall give way to the aircraft in emergency. On the ground. Yeah. So I will tell you like example from our base, or I will draw the example from our base. So we have again runway 23, and the aircraft is standing at 45 degrees here. So usually we are like keeping some distance between us and the runway. Yeah, another aircraft is standing in the same position behind in 45 degrees. So both of them see on the final, and both of them see on the runway possible traffic. Yeah. So basically on the ground we are overtaking via left. So first, like in this direction. Yeah. So it's shorter than via right. And because it's in regulation, we are doing it. Yeah. So basically the aircraft can see still on the final, because if the aircraft will turn like to the right and overtake the aircraft via right, in this is like for them the blind spot. So he can't see on the final, and he can't see on the runway. And very important, but I would say practical rule, which with which you will struggle during your first hours of flight. This is the taxiing in the wind. Yeah, so we know, that we have the control yoke in the aircraft. Yeah, we have the control yoke on the left seat, we have the control yoke on the right seat as well. So basically, there are different positions of the control yoke during the taxiing. Here, use up. Yeah. Use up aileron on left wing and neutral elevator. Yeah. Then use up aileron on the right wing and neutral elevator. If we have the tailwind, if the wind is coming from this side and we are taxiing straight ahead in this direction, we are use the down aileron on the left wing and down elevator. Vice versa, if the wind is coming from this direction and we are taxiing straight ahead, still use down aileron on the right wing and down elevator. So basically, on the grass surfaces, as an example of Letňany, we are trying to hold. If we have more or less the calm wind conditions, we are holding the yoke fully in pitch up deflection because we want to release the front wheel from the surface. Yeah, because it's not straight and not smooth. So we are doing because of that. Yeah. Except of this taxiing, you have to be familiar with the minimum flight altitudes. So we have to try, and we will try, and you will try during your pilot training, and after you will receive license, you will try to maintain these numbers, these values of this minimum safe altitudes. And plus, usually during the check rides, during the exams, I mean the practical one, or during the flights with instructors, you can have this questions: what is the minimum horizontal distance from the obstacle, or what is the minimum vertical distance from this between us and the ground, and so on and so on. So according to these examples, these images, and this information what we have here. So minimum safe altitude is 2,000 feet over the highest obstacle in the mountains when the elevation is 5,000 or more. Of course, depends on the country. Yeah? So for example, in the Czech Republic, as in most of the cases, over the mountains, there is protected. It's all the mountains are the national parks. So there is I think more than 2,000 feet there. On the other hand, minimum safe altitude 1,000 is over highest obstacle in populated area. So basically over the buildings. Yeah, as you can see here. But of course, we are trying to, when we are flying the VFR, the trainings, we are trying to not to overfly the villages and the towns. Yeah, due to noise abatements and other things. But if we are overflying these kind of cities, towns, villages, we have to maintain, we are trying to maintain 1,000 feet over the highest obstacle in the populated area. Everywhere else is 500 feet over the flat area, such as the fields, waters, and so on here. Of course, the exception is when you are practicing with the instructor, for example, the simulated engine failure in the flight, during the flight. So basically, we are almost over the ground, 100 feet over the ground, or when we are practicing the precautionary landing. So these are the exceptions. When we will speak about the horizontal distance from obstacle, it's 600 meters. Yeah, so that's the horizontal distance. Then we have the, for example, in the Czech Republic, we have to maintain the some safe distance from the clouds as well. So some of you, by any chance, do you know this distances from the clouds?
1,000 feet.
Yeah, 1,000 feet, I agree. But as you can see here on this example, it's vertical or horizontal? For example, Ahmed Zan, do you know the answer? What is the vertical distance or horizontal distance? Just write it down to the chat, yeah? Doesn't matter. I mean, the same distance which we are trying to maintain from the clouds, vertical and horizontal. Hamid said 1,000 feet. I agree with this one number, but is vertical or horizontal?
It's horizontal.
1,000 feet is vertical, yeah? So vertical from the clouds. And as you wanna write it down correctly, it's 1,500 meters horizontal from the clouds. Or basically, she wrote it down correctly, the second answer as well, because 300 meters is approximately 1,000 feet vertical. And so thank you, Jonna. So 1,000 feet vertically and 1,500 meters horizontally from the clouds. Of course, we are trying to maintain. Sometimes, like in these weather conditions, it's very hard to maintain, but we are still trying to maintain. Plus these minimum safe altitudes as well. Okay, so now it's time to open the worksheet for our first tasks about the right of way. So I'm opening the first task. And the task is as follows. So drag the word into the correct boxes. Flying objects in the air has right of way in which sequence? Here you have the options. And you have the first priority, as we already discussed, is the aircraft in distress or in the emergency. And then what is the next aircraft?
Balloon.
Balloon, okay. After the balloon,
balloons, airships,
Glider.
gliders.
So glider or airships or air feeling. Sorry, once again.
Glider.
Okay, so let's try the glider. What is the fourth priority? So aerial refueling or towing or airships. Towing, cool. Okay. And then airships. So everyone agrees. Everyone agrees with this sequence. Okay. And it's correct. Yeah. Good job, guys. And let's open the task number 2. So in class Eco airspace, a Boeing 737 and Cessna 152 are flying on crossing course. Which airplane has to divert? The airplane flying from the right to left has the priority. The other one has to divert. The Cessna 152 because commercial flights have the priority, and the Boeing 737 because an airliner has greater power. Sorry. Okay.
Is there any special rule about small planes, general aviation, and airliners, or it's just a common rule?
Not just a common rule, but usually, you know, this example, like Cessna 152 will never meet in one lower altitude with Boeing 737. Yeah, but this was just an example, and you answered correctly. So thank you for that. So let's go for our presentation. Pre-flight procedure. So positive exchange of flight controls. So basically, it's like MCC course, so multi-crew training. So basically it's similar, yeah. So we are using these words like my flight controls, your flight controls. We are usually using my controls or your controls. So basically, if you will take that on the right side, on the right seat, the instructor is sitting, on the left seat, the student is sitting. So basically, the instructor is showing to the student something. Student is like checking what the instructor is doing, and then instructor will say your controls. Student will take the controls, and his answer or her answer will be my controls. So then student is controlling the aircraft. Vice versa. For example, you are on the approach and you are cleared for landing, but some aircraft line up on the runway and is trying to depart. So ATC will tell you go around. So student doesn't know what to do. So instructor will say my controls, and instructor is controlling the aircraft. Yeah, usually we are doing like that, and basically it's very common if we are facing some emergency or some some distress situation. So basically instructor is flying the aircraft. Yeah, but usually we are using these words like my controls and your controls, yeah, during the practical training, so during the flying. So you have to be familiar with that. So my controls, you are controlling the aircraft. Your controls, she or he is controlling the aircraft. Yeah, is that clear?
Crystal clear.
Yeah, so basically I already like touched this slide about the collision avoidance. So before takeoff, prior entering the runway, pilot should scan an approach area. Yeah, so be on 45 degrees to see on the final and to see on the runway as well. When you are receiving the clearance, yeah, you receive the clearance, but anyway, check the final again and check the runway as well if there is someone. If there is someone, try to abort it, yeah, and inform the ATC that there is someone and you are aborting and you are holding holding point of some runway. Yeah, so as I already said, during the climbs and descent, so during the gentle put nose down, time to time to able to see the traffic. So as I said, you are climbing like for 5 minutes and you can't see what is here, what is in front of you. So time to time, gently put the nose down, check the area in front of you, no traffic, continue back to climb to some altitude which you want to reach. Straight and level flight, of course, periodic and scanning of the airspaces. So I know like we have a lot of other work in the aircraft, but time to time, like not time to time, periodically we are scanning the area in front of us and area on the right and on the left as well. One more thing, for example, when we are turning to the right or to the left, because we are flying VFR. So for example, when we are flying like straight ahead and we want to turn to the right, so to that side, before the turn, always check the right. Yeah, so look on the right side is clear, and you can use these callouts with the instructor, and you are turning to the left. Vice versa, you want to turn to the left, so before you will turn, you will check the left side. You will tell to instructor left side clear. Instructor will say check, and you can turn to the left. During the traffic patterns, as I already said, entries into the traffic patterns while descending should be avoided. Yeah. So entries into traffic patterns while descending should be avoided. Try to maintain the altitude, or do the overhead procedure, which I will explain you today, or maybe like next class on the airlaw. Then training operations. So clearing turns should be made before practicing any maneuver. Yeah. So we want to practice steep turns or the stalls. So we want to check the area. So that's the reason. That's the reason why that's the moment. Sorry, that's the moment when we are using the clearing turns. What are the clearing turns? Clearing turns are the turns with 15 degrees bank angle. And if I will use the whiteboard, if I will draw down. So clearing turns are 15 degrees bank angle. So 15 degrees bank angle. And let's say that we are flying to the north. To the north, so 360 or 0 degrees. And we want to practice some maneuver here. Yeah. So we will perform the clearing turns. So clearing turns are turns with 15 degrees bank angle and 90 degrees to the left and 90 degrees to the right. Yeah, so like that and then like that. So basically we will clear this area in front of us. So these are the clearing turns. So basically we are performing these clearing turns before we are doing like some like more dangerous maneuvers such as the stalls, power on, power off, steep turns, spiral dive, and so on and so on. Yeah. So let's take 10 minutes break right now, and after the break, we will proceed with our next topic is runway incursion. Yeah. So see you in 10 minutes. So hello guys, I'm back. Do you see me? And do you see me? And can you hear me?
Yep.
And great. Thank you, Duncan.
Yep.
Thank you, Rusi. So we finished about with the collision avoidance and like visual scanning in these like parts or stages of the flight. So straight and level, traffic patterns avoided, training, operations, maneuver, and so on and so on. And the next like part of today's class, it will be runway incursion avoidance. Yeah, runway incursion. So during the departure and arrivals as well. So basically, the runway incursion is any occurrence in the airport runway environment involving an aircraft, vehicle, person, or object on the ground that creates a collision hazard or results in a loss of required separation with an aircraft taking off, intending to take off, landing, or intending to land. It is important to give the same attention to operating on the surface as in other phases of the flights. So proper planning can prevent the runway incursions and the possibility of runway incursion and the possibility of ground collisions. A pilot should always be aware of the aircraft's position on the surface at all times and be aware of other aircraft and vehicles operations on the airport area. So at times, towered airports can be busy and taxi instructions can be complex. Yeah? In this situation, it may be advisable to write down the taxi instructions. Yeah, so as you can see here, proper read back and write it down if you are able to do that. Yeah? All the taxi and the runway crossing instruction. We have to read back, of course, and it will be better to write down these instructions. Before the flight, we have to be familiar with the review airport layout, signage, and proper phraseology as we did on Monday. Check for traffic and cross only when cleared. Before crossing any runway, hold line, hold short, and before entering a taxiway. So always you have to receive what? You have to receive the clearance for crossing the runways. And vacate active runways as soon as possible. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you are at controlled or uncontrolled airport, try to vacate it very, very fast. But of course, as you can see, but don't vacate the runway with high speed, yeah, with the safety measures, but vacate it as soon as possible. And turn on aircraft lights and the beacon lights as well. And of course, what you have to do, you have to review the notices to airmen. And in these notices, it can be like written there that, for example, one taxiway is closed, or like or for example, some of the runway is closed as well. Yeah, so that's the reason why we are checking the notices. That's because of that. So basically, we have some practices to help to prevent runway incursion. So as I said, to repeat myself, read back all runway crossing and hold instructions. Review airport layouts, which is a part of pre-flight planning before descending to land and while taxiing, if is it needed. Know airport signage. Review the notices, as I said 1 minute, like a few seconds ago. Request progressive taxi instruction from the ATC when unsure of the taxi route. Check for traffic before crossing any runway, hold line, and before entering a taxiway. Turn on the aircraft lights and the rotating beacon or strobe lights while you are taxiing. And when landing, clear the active runway as soon as possible, as I already said, but be careful with to vacate the runway with high speed. And write down the more complicated and complex taxi instructions at unfamiliar airport. Yeah. So before we will proceed, we can proceed to the airport operations, and now we will speak about the controlled airport and about the uncontrolled airport. So basically, what are the differences, or what is the difference? So can you tell me what is the difference, or what is the difference between the controlled airport and uncontrolled airport?
I guess that in controlled airport we have to acknowledge ourselves. Give a flight plan, and to read back all the clearances. And in uncontrolled airports, we have to announce our actions, right?
Yeah, basically it's. That's correct. Yeah, we have to control airport has the tower, but uncontrolled airport has the radio. And controlled airport, we have to request for the clearances. Yeah, so we have to request clearance for everything. We have to receive the clearance for taxiing. We have to receive the clearance for departure, for takeoff, for landing. And to proceed some, for example, departure point. Basically, in uncontrolled airport, we are just giving them the information. And of course, it's a not mistake to request for example, for takeoff clearance, but you don't have to do that in uncontrolled airport. Yeah, you just to inform them, and then it's like your responsibility if there is someone on final. Yeah. Plus, as Joanna wrote it down, uncontrolled airport, it has to be two-way communication. Two-way communication has to be established. Flight plan is not mandatory to be fulfilled. Yeah, for the controlled airport. Yeah, flight plan is not mandatory. You can land at the controlled airport without the flight plan. Yeah, it's not necessary to prepare the flight plan. And uncontrolled, flight information service is something different. Yeah, we have the radios. For example, in the Czech Republic, we have some radios frequency. So it's the frequency of the radio on uncontrolled airport. And if you remember from the Monday's lesson about the FIS, so for example, in some airports in the Czech Republic, we had the FIS. Right now, it's they cancel it, so we have only the uncontrolled, the radios, and the controlled airports. So to somehow begin the discussion about the airport operations and about the controlled airports. So each time a pilot operates an aircraft, the flight normally begins and ends at an airport. Yeah, that makes sense. An airport may be a small field or large complex utilized by carriers. Yeah, so this course. Basically, this discussion will examine the airport operations, and we will speak about the categories, as I said. So aerodrome categories. So according to ICAO Annex 14, we will speak about the annexes in ground lesson 10, which will be about the air law and the regulations. So ICAO Annex 14 defines the aerodrome as a defined area on land or on water as well, including any buildings, installations, and equipment intended to be used either wholly or in part for the arrival, departure, and surface movement of the aircraft. So as we already discussed, which types of aerodromes we have, there are basically two types of aerodromes, controlled one and uncontrolled one. These types, of course, can be further subdivided to civil aerodromes, military aerodromes, and the private aerodromes. Civil aerodromes are the aerodromes that are open to the general public. Military aerodromes operated by the military. Then we have the private aerodromes, and aerodromes like private aerodromes are the aerodromes that are open to the public under the certain conditions. So when we will start with the controlled aerodromes, a controlled aerodrome has an operating control tower. Air traffic control ATC is responsible for providing the safe, orderly, and expeditious flow of air traffic at airports where the type of operations and or volume of traffic requires such a service. Pilots operating from a towered airport are required to maintain two-way radio communication with ATC and to acknowledge and comply with their instructions. Pilots must advise ATC if they cannot comply with the instructions issued and request amended instructions. A pilot may deviate from an air traffic instruction in an emergency, but must advise ATC of the deviation as soon as possible. So this is the example of the tower, and here you can see the example of the map with the controlled aerodrome. So basically, this is the controlled airspace CTR of this dashed blue line of this airport. CTR, here you can see the vertical limitation, so from the ground to 3,000 above mean sea level. Then we have the uncontrolled airports. So basically, an uncontrolled aerodromes does not have an operating control tower. Instead, it has an officer providing an information to known traffic during the operational hours. The operational hours, they are written in the IP of a particular state and of the particular aerodrome. Outside operational hours, transmission shall be made blind in order to inform other possible traffic. Two-way radio communications are not required, but although it is a good operating practice for pilots to transmit their intentions on the aerodrome frequency for the benefit of other traffic in the area. During operating hours, officers providing information to known traffic will, on a request, provide information regarding the runway in use, traffic pattern, and presence of other traffic in the area. Yeah, so basically, that's what we are doing in Lechany. So the aircraft, when operating on an uncontrolled aerodrome and within an ATZ, which is the aerodrome traffic zone, shall report on an appropriate frequency assigned and published for an individual aerodrome. So the type of aircraft, position, altitude, and intended flight or ground activity as appropriate. Regardless whether the aerodrome flight information service is provided or nobody replies. Yeah. So moreover, the aircraft shall report for the departing aircraft first commencement of taxiing and activity after departure. Then intention, for example, to cross or backtrack the runway or runways, including inactive, entering the runway, and takeoff, run or takeoff, or turn after departure or direction of a flight. So basically here you can see like some very long runways. So for some uncontrolled airport, and basically this example from the chart is the same. Yeah. So basically this is the controlled airspace of this controlled aerodrome, and this dashed circle are the ATZ, aerodrome traffic zones of uncontrolled aerodromes. Yeah? And basically, if we have, for example, the aircraft transiting an aerodrome traffic zone, a position and altitude of intended entry to an ATZ and exit from an ATZ, you have to give to the radio. then distance and geographical direction from an aerodrome, track and altitude to be flown within the ATZ. So for example, Cessna 152 entering your ATZ from the west, because west is here, at 2,000 feet and proceeding to the northeast. So like that, at 2,000 feet on QNH 1030, for example. If a crew, for example, in Czech Republic, if a crew of an aircraft cannot communicate in local language and information in English is not provided, such aircraft is taken as one or is one not equipped with two-way radio and must comply with relevant procedures. So that's the reason why we are doing the briefing before the flight and basically reading the procedures for each aerodrome where we are flying. Other aircrafts at the aerodrome or within the aerodrome traffic zone have to be listening to the same frequency and shall use this information to avoid the collisions. Uncontrolled aerodrome traffic patterns are always entered at pattern altitude. How you enter the pattern depends upon the direction of your arrival to the ATZ. The preferred method for entering from the downwind side of the pattern is to approach the pattern on a course of 45 degrees to the downwind leg and join the pattern at midfield. So this was the uncontrolled airport. And basically here you have the again the difference is from the hype between the controlled and uncontrolled airport. So this is the controlled airport. Here you can see the runway. These are the holding points. So holding point Bravo, holding point Alpha. These are the entering and exiting points from this controlled airspace. And this is the uncontrolled ATZ of Lima Kilo Foxtrot Romeo with runways. This is the runway or runways, I don't know how many runways they have. And these are the circuits. So to the north and to the south. And basically here is the controlled airspace. So this is the limitation. So it's from the ground to 2,500 above mean sea level. Here we have the TMA of Ostrava, which belongs like basically to this controlled airspace, which is from 2,500 feet and flight level 905. So basically, my question is, when we are entering this airspace, we are maintaining 2,000 feet. Yeah, should we contact Ostrava radar on this frequency 119.375 in this airspace if we are maintaining 2,000 feet? What do you think?
Of course.
Right, we are maintaining 2,000 feet, yeah? So you think that we have to contact 119.375 here? No, we don't have to contact like Ostrava radar on this frequency because we are flying below 2,500 feet. So we don't have to contact them, yeah? If we will enter this TMA at, I would say, 3,000 feet, we are already inside the TMA 1 Ostrava, so which starts from 2,500 feet and it's up to flight level 905. And we have to contact exactly, yeah, and we have to request for that because it's controlled airspace. So basically, that's the reason why we are checking before the flight, as I said, the airport diagram. We are checking the arrivals and the departures routes for the VFR flights. So there will be, I'm pretty sure, arrival route via Whiskey to Bravo and then to some of the runway, this one or this one. Then will be another arrival route from November to Bravo and then from Tango to Bravo and from the other side as well. Departure from Bravo to Whiskey and from Bravo to November. Of course, what can happen, for example, the aerodrome is without any reported traffic. So basically, if you will request to proceed direct after departure, for example, from this direction of the runway to November, they can approve this, like they can give you the clearance for this request. Yeah, but usually let's follow the procedures. We are following the procedures. So there will be written departure route for example, from runway 04. So let's say that this runway 04 to this direction. Departure route, we want to depart to the north, so it will be departure via Bravo, November. Because usually the Bravo and the holding points are for the VFR, they are like the downwind position. Yeah, so we are flying like the circuit like that. In case of uncontrolled airport, entering, we are contacting this Friedland radio Lima Kilo Foxtrot Romeo. Yeah, then if we are maintaining 2,000 feet, so yeah, we don't have to contact the Ostrava radar because we are like below the TMA, but we have to contact Moshnov Tower, which is this one, 120.805, because we want to proceed for the landing in this controlled airspace, and we have to contact them before the Whiskey. So we want to request arrival route Whiskey Bravo, and then land with the landing at this Ostrava Moshnov airport. Yeah, if I will use this example, if I will show you this example, so this is the Moshnov Tower Airport. So if you will check, if you will open the check IB, and I will show just the arrival and departure routes. So don't worry, you will speak about this airspaces like for the airspace class, but just very quickly, I hope it will be somewhere here, VFR arrivals and departures chart. So here you can see this is the same chart, yeah? Whiskey Bravo, and we have the arrivals route. Arrival route, Whiskey 1, so it's Whiskey Bravo. Departure, Whiskey 1, Bravo Whiskey. So we will request for the arrival route, Whiskey 1, and we know, and the ATC know that Whiskey 1 arrival route is from Whiskey, is not from, but via Whiskey Bravo to for landing in Ostrava Moshnov. Yeah. So controlled airspace is the CTR or like the TMA as well. So controlled airspace, all controlled airspace is served by ATC controllers, so by the tower or by the radar. Then flights subject to clearance. So everything what you want to do, everything you have to request for that. Doesn't matter if you are on the ground, in the air. Usually VFR flights in controlled aerodromes, you don't have to request for the startup the engine, but after the startup, you have to request for taxi to the holding point. You have to request a departure via some departure route. Then you have to request the proceed to some point. Then you have to request request for departure, request for takeoff, and so on and so on. Then of course the controlled airspaces have, of course, the ATC units. We slightly touched the ATC units topic on the communication on Monday. So we spoke briefly about the ground delivery, which are responsible for the departure clearances and the taxiing, usually the ground. Then for tower, ATC units, the tower is responsible for the airport and CTR control, approach or radar. Usually the approach is responsible for the TMA control, but not every controlled aerodrome. VFR flights usually underfly the ETMA. So as I told you the example here, yeah, for example, this is the TMA or this one. So we are usually flying below these TMAs. Yeah, underfly the TMAs to enter directly the control airspace. So the CTR. So this airspace, this dashed blue-white line, this pattern with the CTR of Moshnov, which is starting from the ground to 2,500 feet above mean sea level. And air control or the radar other than aerodrome airspaces. Yes, so again, another departure, another information, another example of controlled airspace, which is here Lima Kilo Tango Bravo, Brno Tuřany Airport. Here you can see the elevation of the airport, 778 feet or 237 meters. Here you can see it's public international aerodrome. It's like suitable for the IFR and for the VFR flights as well. On the right corner, up corner, you have these frequencies. So Tuřany ATIS, Tuřany Tower, Brno Approach, or radar 127350, and tower is 119.605. So which frequency we doesn't have here? We doesn't have the frequency of the ground. Yeah, but I think it will be at the next slides. Yeah, so for example, here you can see again the arrival and departure routes: November Bravo, Echo Bravo, from the south, Sierra Alpha, Zulu Alpha, Whiskey Alpha. Arrival and the departure routes, same dashed white blue line, which is indicated the controlled airspace, and this is the runway in Brno. And you can see here that it's from ground to 5,000 above mean sea level. Then we have the TMA of Brno from 5,000 feet to flight level 905. And you can see here that, for example, TMA of Brno in the south is starting from 1,000 AGL to flight level 905. So, for example, if we are maintaining 4,000 feet, we don't have to contact them, the Brno approach, the Brno radar. But if we will maintain 4,000 here, we have to contact Brno radar. Yeah. So this is the controlled airspace example. So we are starting here. So we are Cessna 152 approaching this November point as we practice on Monday. Same situation. So Cessna 152 from Lima Kilo Papa Romeo to Lima Kilo Tango Bravo. Who you are, where you are, 5 minutes west of November point. Here, altitude 2,200 feet. That's the reason why we didn't contact Brno radar. Information mic on board QNH 1012, so that's from the ATI's information, and then what we want. So the request proceed via November point to Lima Kilo Tango Bravo for full stop landing. Oscar Kilo Foxtrot Alpha Juliet. Response for the tower, Oscar Kilo Foxtrot Alpha Juliet, information mic is correct. QNH 1012, clear to proceed via November to right downwind for runway 27. Maximum altitude 2,500 feet, set squawk 3507. So maximum altitude 2,500 feet is written here, which is like the limitations of the CTR of Tuzany in this example, and proceed to right downwind for runway 27. So runway 27 is in that direction. So right downwind, so it's right traffic patterns. So all the turns are made to the right. So 1, 2nd, 3rd, and the last one. So the downwind position is basically this Bravo point. Then the readback from the pilots, from the crew, proceeding to the right downwind for runway 27 via November point and maximum altitude 2,500 feet and the squawk 3507. And at the end, your call sign, Oscar Kilo Foxtrot Alpha Juliet. And this is for the communication on the ground. So same as we did on the Monday. So here you have the communication frequency to Tuzany ground 125.430. Oscar Kilo Foxtrot Alpha Juliet, Tuzany ground, hello, taxi, like first, taxi Tuzany ground, contact them, Tuzany ground, Oscar Kilo Foxtrot Alpha Juliet, hello, runway 27 is vacated via Delta, which is this taxiway, Delta, and request to taxi to the general aviation stand. So we are somewhere here, and we want to taxi here, as I showed you on Monday. So via Delta, then via Alpha, which is this one, Alpha, and then to general aviation stand. Oscar Kilo Foxtrot Alpha Juliet, Tuzany ground, hello, taxi to general aviation stand, here, via taxiways, Alpha and general aviation strip, report marshal inside. Taxi via Alpha and GA strip and Wilco. So Wilco means I will follow your instructions. So I understand and I will follow it. So we will report the marshal inside. Then of course, as we spoke on Monday, so let's revise it. Let's repeat it. So FIS, Aerodrome Flight Information Service, which ensures the flight information service at uncontrolled airports, records the departure and the arrivals, monitors aircraft position in the traffic pattern, and also monitors the aircraft position when they are entering and when they are leaving the ATZ, aerodrome traffic zone. Provides the traffic, operational, and basic weather information, and pilot are required to report what? The startup or entering the ATZ intentions, so activity within the ATZ, or like leaving the ATZ, and the traffic patterns position such as the downwind and the final, usually. And of course, AFIS informs about the known traffic on the traffic circuit and in the ATZ as well. But they have no responsibility for the separation between the aircrafts in the ATZ. Then again, repeat myself from the Monday. Then we have the uncontrolled, so the radio, which ensures the flight information service at uncontrolled airports as practicable. The radios are less equipped than the FIS. Then no dedicated staff served by anyone holding a radio license, and no weather information is providing. No requirements for specific operating hours, and pilot report basically the same as to FIS. So the position of the traffic circuit aerodrome, then positions when we are entering and when we are leaving the ATZ, and our intentions, for example, if we want to do something in the ATZ, in the aerodrome traffic zone. So as Nikita asked the question in the very beginning of our class, this is the aerodrome diagram of Letňany. This is the frequency. Now it's not info, but it's radio. So basically, this is the frequency 1207335, and this is the frequency of controlled airspace. So this dashed blue and white line. Yeah, so you can see Mike point, Lima point, uniform point, and the Romeo point, entering and exiting points from this airspace. And basically, the Letňany aerodrome is here, is this circuit. On the right side of this slide, you can see the example of other uncontrolled aerodrome, which is Jihlava. So basically, we are doing the briefing before the flight. Then we are doing the briefing before the entering the ATZ. Yeah. So briefing looks like that. So first, we are checking that it's Lima Kilo Juliet India Jihlava Airport. This chart was like issued at 09 November 2017. Public domestic aerodrome, frequency 123.490 for Jihlava radio is set on the radio. Then we have the elevation of the airport is 1,821 feet, which is 565 meters. And circuit altitude is usually 1,000 above the elevation, so approximately 2,800 feet. In meters is 8,500 above mean sea level. So this is the aerodrome, and these are the runways. Yeah, then we have to speak about the runway layout. So we know that we have that the runways are always marked. Like the direction of the runway is into the direction of 330. So if we have the runway 33, it's into the direction 330. Opposite runway will be. You mean the uncontrolled aerodromes only for the domestic flights? Yeah, sorry. No. Basically, you will open the IP, you will open the VFR manual. Yeah, sorry, I understand what you mean. So public domestic aerodrome, that means that it's like public domestic, but you will check the procedures and basically the information of this Lima Kilo Juliet India airport, and it can be written there that, for example, they can accept the some flight from for example, from the Germany. Yeah, doesn't mean that it's public domestic airport that they are not accepting the international flights. Yeah, it doesn't mean like that. You can see it's written in Letňany as well, and a lot of people are flying to Letňany from Germany, from Austria. Some people are flying from Letňany to Croatia, for example, during the summer. Yeah, so just public domestic. Yeah. About the runway layout, so opposite runway direction for runway 33, it's 15. We have the runway 09, so it means that it's to direction 090 degrees. Runway 27 is to the direction to the west, so to the direction 27 degrees. If your airplane is on final approach for runway 33, you will be flying a magnetic heading of approximately 330 toward the 330. Yeah, if we have more than one runway, I mean, we have parallel runways, and more than two, if we have more than one, it's left and right. If we have more than two parallel runways, we have runway 18 left, 18 center, and 18 right. Yeah. For example, easy calculation, not easy like how I remember in my very beginning of the PPL. That, for example, if we have runway 30, it's into the direction to the northwest approximately. Yeah. So you don't know like what is the opposite runway. So always try to, you have these two digits, 2 and 2. Always you have to add 1, 2 and subtract 1, 2. Yeah. Exactly, this rule, plus minus 2. That's the rule, plus minus 2, exactly. So you know that you can't subtract 2 from the 0. It doesn't make any sense because it will be minus 2. So you know that you have to add the 2. So it will be the opposite direction will be 2. And then you already add. So you need to subtract from 3. So it will be 1. So opposite runway direction is 1, 2. So it works like that. Yeah. So for example, we have runway, let's say 2, 3, to runway, to magnetic direction 2, 3. According to rule plus minus 2. So what we will do, we can't add the 2 towards the first digit because 4 it will be nonsense. So minus 2, so it will be 0. We already subtract 2, so we will add 2 to the 3, and we have the 5. So runway 0, 5, yeah, into this direction. So you can try to remember it, this plus minus 2 rule. Yeah. Yeah, then another important, yeah, or like that, yeah, exactly, Rusin. Yeah, you are right as well. So another important thing, you have to be familiar about the legs on the circuits. Yeah, so here always we are taking off and we are landing against the wind. So wind is coming from that direction. So we will use this magnetic direction. Yeah, so it looks like 0, 3 runway and 2, 1. So wind is coming from 2, 1, 0 degrees. Wind is coming from 0, 3, 0 degrees. So you will have the runway 0, 3 in use. Yeah, so this is the takeoff leg. Then we have the crosswind leg, downwind, base, and the final leg. Yeah. So basically, at airports, without an operating control tower, a segmented circle visual indicator system, if installed, is designed to provide the traffic pattern information, usually located in a position affording maximum visibility to all the pilots in the air and on the ground, and providing a centralized location for other elements of the system. So, for example, the segmented circle consists of the following components, such as the wind direction indicators, landing direction indicators, landing strip indicators, and traffic patterns indicators. Yeah. So we know, like from our previous discussion, you know that we are like reporting usually we are reporting 2 legs. Can you tell me which ones we are reporting? From there,
downwind and final.
exactly. So we are reporting the downwind. So if we will take this example that we are using the runway 03, so you can see that all turns are to the left in case of runway 03. So when we will report the downwind, so it will be left downwind because all the turns are are to the left. So left downwind for runway 03. Then we can specify what we want to do for full stop landing or for touch and go landing. If we will take off from runway 21, so 21, this is the crosswind, downwind, base leg, and final. So it will be all turns are to the right. So it will be in this position, right downwind for runway 21 for a full stop landing or for touch and go. Or you can report the downwind, and from downwind, you can leave the traffic pattern and you can proceed out of traffic pattern and then out of ATZ. At most airports and military air bases and traffic pattern altitudes for propeller-driven aircraft generally extend from 600 feet to as high as 1,500 feet above ground level. So basically, the pilots can obtain the traffic pattern altitude from an airport from the chart supplement, for example, in the US, and also traffic pattern altitudes for military turbojet aircraft sometimes extend up to 2,500 feet above ground level. Yeah, so if you will take the example, I will check the presentation. Yeah, if you will take the example of key traffic pattern operations with the single runway. So if I will open the whiteboard. So let's say this will be like one runway. So 09 to 7. We have departure, crosswind, downwind, base leg, final. So after departure, cross, downwind, base leg. So for example, when we are entering the aerodrome traffic pattern, we are usually following the overhead procedure. Yeah, but if there is someone like on the radio, so basically we are informing him or her on the radio that he will join like some part of the traffic pattern. The best way, like the best thing according to the procedures, is to join the traffic pattern from via downwind. Yeah? So via downwind. So enter the traffic pattern in level flight and beam the midpoint of the runway at pattern altitudes, usually found 1,000 feet above ground level, which is recommended pattern altitude unless otherwise is established. Maintain the pattern altitude until a beam approach end of the landing runway on downwind leg. So basically it's like 45 degrees, but doesn't matter. So join the downwind position. Runway in use is 09. So it's left-hand circuits. We are joining this downwind position. We are reporting at the downwind. And usually we are starting to configure the aircraft for the landing. So we are starting to slowing down our airspeed, following the checklist, and we are preparing and configuring the aircraft for the downwind, for the landing. Basically, we are not descending in the downwind position, and after we are just slowing down our airspeed. Then we are turning to the base leg, and we are starting to descend from this position. We are starting to descend, and then we are turning to the final. We are reporting the final for runway 09. Then, of course, what you have to be careful during the climb, do not extend the 15 degrees bank angle. Yeah, usually the downwind is parallel to runway. Yeah, that's correct. So basically, you should report the downwind at the threshold of the runway which is active. Yeah. We are joining the downwind at the traffic pattern altitude. And basically, if there is no one on the radio, we are using the overhead procedure. Overhead procedure, which is the traffic pattern altitude plus 500 feet. And we are checking the aerodrome signs, and I will speak about the aerodrome signs later on. Yeah, plus I will explain you the overhead procedure in more detailed way in the air law lesson.
And how long is the base leg? My idea is how much is the distance between the runway's, let's say, center line to the downwind pattern?
Yeah. Like it depends on the airport. Yeah, everywhere else is different. So I can't tell you like one value, one number.
So there is no general rule about it. It's just from airport to airport.
Like some airports are exactly perpendicular, so 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees with the same like distances of crosswind, base leg, and the downwind. But for example, some uncontrolled aerodromes, they are located in like mountainous area or like some other areas, and the distances, like for example, of the crosswind or of the base leg, they are like smaller than the downwind and vice versa. Yeah? So basically, it depends. So if I will show you, for example, from the VFR manual of Czech Republic, I will show you one airport, which is called Lima Kilo Romeo Kilo, as far as I know. Yeah, this one. Yeah. So, for example, look on that traffic pattern. Yeah. So we have basically two parallel runways. We have left circuit, but you can see like the downwind. Yeah. First, the downwind is not parallel. And you can see this is the crosswind or base leg, and like this is the crosswind or base leg. Yeah. And finally is here. So this is like the weird circuit. Yeah. But for example, if I will click on Roudnica Lima Kilo Romeo Oscar, so basically here you can see that the crosswind and the base leg are the same. Yeah, and the downwind position is parallel with the runway. How are the traffic patterns for runways?
So you mean the cross runways?
Yeah, for example, about the Jeremy question, yeah, like these are the uncontrolled aerodromes. Yeah, so for example, if I will show you the controlled aerodromes, they have like the largest circuits. Yeah, these uncontrolled aerodromes are for general aviation aircraft such as the Cessna 152, 172. Of course, if they are like if they are expecting some flight like some aircraft such as the Piper, like larger Piper, of course they can extend the downwind position, extend the base leg, or extend the crosswind. Yeah, because they have higher speed and as you roll down. Yeah, so yeah, this situation you can meet as well. You can have it as well on some uncontrolled aerodromes. And the traffic pattern or altitude, is it always the same, or we take from the charts? We are taking from the chart always. Yeah. Usually, the rule is that the traffic pattern is elevation plus 1,000 feet. Yeah, but it's always better to have the aerodrome diagram with you on the board, the printed one, and always do the briefing before the flight and during the flight before you are entering the ETZ. Okay, so C7 local. So let's take like 10 minutes last break, and then we will finish our lesson. Okay. So see you in 10 minutes.
Guys, we are in Ukraine. Just started for the first blog from a student in Flying Academy. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, just comment down below and we'll see you on the next video.
Hello guys, welcome to a new edition of How To for Pilots, where we will discuss practical and theoretical concepts in a very understandable and fun way. For today's presentation, we're going to be using the material made available to us from Flying Academy's e-learning, otherwise known as the LMS, where you can find a bunch of helpful videos, articles, books, and so on. Now, today, as pilots, we are always interacting with machine, software, humans, in the cockpit and around the aircraft and the industry itself. Scientists or psychologists, more specifically, have come up with an idea, an acronym called SHELL. This conceptual acronym, SHELL, means software, hardware, environment, liveware, and liveware. The software is the program, hardware is the equipment itself, environment is the pressures, weather, temperature, and so on, and the liveware is the human being. And everything is around this liveware. The human being is always in the center. There are always personal attitudes and personalities that might interfere in proper communication or proper decision making. To make the most appropriate decisions at the stressful times, we have to become aware of 5 hazardous attitudes in pilots. Now, these attitudes are anti-authority, impulsivity, invulnerability, macho, and resignation. Let's go through each one of them one by one. Here we have the anti-authority. Anti-authority are usually people who do not like to be told what to do, like a child in the classroom, or a student and a professor, or a student and an instructor in any course. In aviation, it would be dangerous because if you get a message from your captain and you just don't want to listen, you might cause danger to others' lives. Impulsivity. This is when people react without appropriate thought to the consequences of their action. This is when there is no sequence of thought and reflection between the thought and action. An example would be that if an aircraft is coming to land and the student or the pilot is scared, the first impulsive reaction would be to pull the yoke. This would decrease the speed and stop and crash the aircraft. So what would be the counteract for this? Think about the consequences of my action. My speed is low, if I pull up, my speed will decrease and I will crash. Next one here is invulnerability. Invulnerability refers to the feeling or the thought that bad things happen to others but not to me. This is not always true. Even though we know that there is a high probability of accidents happening to everyone equally, and we know of it, but deep down we just feel that accidents don't happen to us. It might happen to our friend, our neighbor, the other student, or the other pilot, but never to me. And this will cause you to take greater risk and omit your pre-flight checklist and so on. Now we go here to macho personality, the next attitude that we're going to be discussing, like wanting to show a very cool maneuver to your friend that is not so safe, okay? So next one we go here and we have the resignation. Resignation is when the person is not motivated enough, does not care about the consequences, it does not attribute anything to personal efficiency. Okay guys, let's review at the end of this video. We had 5 hazardous attitudes that pilots should avoid. To avoid it, we have to recognize. What are they? Number 1 is authority. Number 2 is impulsivity. Number 3 is invulnerability. Number 4 here is macho. And last one is resignation. Guys, once again, thank you for attending today's session. And we will be back with you with another cool video. Until then, do not forget to join our e-learning, and please hurry and get your free 3-day trial. Goodbye.
Hey guys, my name is Chris, and I'm an instructor here at Flying Academy's Miami base. I want to talk to you about the different fleet types that are available to you for your training. First, we'll start off with our Cessna 152 aircraft with 110 horsepower, which we normally use for your private, instrument, and commercial training. The Cessna 152 is our most economical aircraft, and that we use for time building primarily. Then we'll move up to our Cessna 172 aircraft. Our Cessna 172 is a little bit bigger than the 152 with 180 horsepower, and it's a 4-seater aircraft. Our Cessna 172s are our most popular aircraft for training. We use it for private, instrument, commercial, and even the advanced ratings, your CFI, CFII ratings. Piper Warrior aircraft is 180 horsepower, similar to our Cessna 172s. Also 4-seater. You get the variety that comes with the differences between Cessna and Piper design models. Cessnas have the throttles, which is a push to field here, versus the Pipers, which have the overhand throttle. The Pipers also have low wing, so you get to experience the differences in flying a high wing versus a low wing aircraft. Next, we'll talk about our Cessna 172 G1000. Our G1000 has updated Garmin avionics, where you have a PFD and an MFD screen. A lot of the airlines will ask nowadays how much glass time you have, and you can get that at Flying Academy here in our G1000 aircraft. Lastly, we'll talk about our advanced aircraft. We have several aircraft that you can use for your complex training. We have a Cessna 172 RG, a Piper Seminole, and a Piper Seneca. Cessna 172 RG is our upgraded version of a normal 172. With the 172 RG, it's more for our advanced students. We use it for your complex endorsement. The 172 RG, the RG standing for retractable gear, means that you can bring the gear up and bring the gear down. We also have a constant speed propeller, which allows you to change the blade angle of the propeller. These type of aircraft are what are needed for your complex endorsement for the commercial pilot students. Our Piper Seminole is a turbo PA-44. That's our multi-engine aircraft, one of our 2 multi-engine aircraft that we use for training. Our Piper Seminole is 180 horsepower per engine. That gives you the speed and efficiency you need to cover long distances in a short amount of time. Our Piper Seminole is also used for our complex training, having the retractable gear and the constant speed propellers. It is an option to our students to use for their multi-engine training. Here at Flying Academy, you can go straight to your commercial multi or do the commercial single with the multi-engine add-on. Seneca is your other option when looking for multi-engine training here at Flying Academy Miami. Our Seneca is a high-performance, complex aircraft that also adheres to the Indian regulations for what's needed for their multi-engine license. At Flying Academy, all of our instructors are trained to fly every aircraft. So students do not have to worry about finding a specific instructor for a specific type of aircraft. The student has the freedom to choose whichever aircraft they want, and our instructors will adapt to your schedule and the training needs that you have in your specific aircraft. Our instructors are CFI, CFII, and NEI rated instructor pilots.
Hello guys, welcome back with us to the new edition of How to for Pilots. Today we are looking at flight simulator. Today we're going to be talking about straight and level flight. This is a configuration in which the heading and altitude are continuously and constantly maintained at one direction. This is that the most important, if not the most important maneuver in your flight training, but it's one of the basic foundation maneuvers that we run. Just like when you're driving, the first skill is to the car. This is the big. We're going to be first explaining for VFR pilots, so during the day with visual cues. Now, to achieve this, we need to perform using a combination of visual cues, meaning referencing to outside, and the instrument, but mostly emphasizing on outside cues. Now, the common mistake that
Okay, so hello guys. One more time, hello. Good evening, good day.
Hi.
Yeah, so I hope you can see me, you can hear me. And right now I'm opening the attendance link for today's class. I'm opening it, so you have 15 minutes to confirm your attendance via the worksheet. Yeah?
Perfect.
Thank you. Okay, so we finished our discussion about the traffic patterns, and so we have, like, we know the legs of the traffic pattern. So let's speak about the airport operation and about the wind direction indicators. So it is important for a pilot to know the direction of the wind. So at facilities with an operating control tower, this information is provided by ATC. Information may also be provided by FS personnel or by requesting information on a flight information service frequency. But when none of these services is available, it is possible to determine the wind direction and the runway news by visual wind indicators or windsocks. Yeah? A pilot should check these wind indicators even when information is provided on the FS at a given airport, because there is no assurance that the information provided is accurate. Basically, the wind direction indicator can be a wind cone, windsock, tetrahedron, or basically wind T. Two-letter ones are uncommon in EASA states, but they are in the US as well. These are usually located in a central location near the runway or tower and may be placed in the center of segmented circle, which identifies the traffic pattern direction. If is it other than the standard left-hand pattern. So here on this example of this slide, you can see the windsock. Yeah, the windsock is divided by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like stripes, I would say. Each stripe no attendance, yeah? So let me figure it out. Yeah, Jeremy, it should work. It should work. Yeah, so each stripe has 3 knots, which will cause the properly functioning windsock to orient itself according to wind. Yeah, so fully, if we have this, like this kind of windsock, 15 knots wind will fully extend the properly functioning windsock. Yeah, Jeremy, I understand that you are angry, but like it's not my fault. Yeah, write the email to the IT department. Yeah, I'm the flight instructor, so like I can like ask the IT department tomorrow, but what I can do right now, yeah, I can't do anything. That the attendance button is not working for you. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, Jeremy. Then we have to be familiar with the runway markings. Yeah. So here you can see this is the threshold, this white solid line. Yeah. This is the permanently displaced threshold, these 3 arrows. And basically on some runways, the number of the runway is like behind the threshold, or in some runways is before the threshold, in front of the threshold. So temporary displayed for 6 months or less, and pre-threshold area fit for aircraft. So here you can see pre-threshold area are not fit for aircraft movement, and this yellow like triangles is pre-threshold area fit for use by aircraft as a stopway only. Then we have like some couple of different runways. So basically this is the basic runway for the visual flying. So you have here only the runway 36. Then we have the non-precision instrument with these stripes and of course the runway marking. Plus we have this. Yeah, exactly, Duncan, exactly. And these stripes and basically another stripes here, like touchdown zone marker, 1,000 feet fixed distance marking. These are for the precision instrument runway. Yeah. So basically aerodrome markings and signs, then I will say something more about this. Yeah, then I will start with the runway markings and sign. So basically the runway markings vary depending on the type of operations, as you can see here on this example, conducted at the aerodrome area. A basic VFR runway may only have the center line markings and runway numbers. Since aircraft are affected by the wind during the takeoffs and landings, runways are laid out according to the local prevailing winds. Runway numbers are in a reference to magnetic north, about which we already spoke. So the certain aerodromes have multiple runways laid out in the same direction. So these are referred to as a parallel runways, and we already spoke about these runways. So basically, let's start with the temporary displaced threshold. It is sometimes necessary due to construction or runway maintenance to close only a portion of a runway. When a portion, for example here, or here, this one, let's take this one. When a portion of a runway is closed, the runway threshold is temporarily displaced as necessary. It is referred to as a temporary displaced threshold, and methods for identifying the displaced threshold vary. A common way for a temporary displaced threshold to be marked is 1.8 meters, which is the minimum white bar across the width of the runway, and 10 meters tall arrow heads. Basically, as you can see here on this example. Then we have the displaced threshold, and displaced threshold is a threshold located at a point on the runway. Yeah, here for example, on the runway other than the designated beginning of the runway. Displacement of a threshold reduces the length of runway available for landings. The portion of runway behind a displaced threshold is available for takeoffs in either direction or landings from the opposite direction. A 10 feet wide threshold bar is located across the width of the runway at the displaced threshold, and white arrows are located along the center line in the area between the beginning of the runway and the displaced threshold. Yeah, so basically that's this part. You will proceed to the runway, so you can see that the runway markings are with which color? With the white. So basically this is the biggest difference because the taxiway markings are with the yellow color. Yeah, so taxiway is yellow. And do you know what is this marking?
Hold short.
Yeah, exactly. So when you want to depart, when you want to take off, you have to stop in front of them, in front of this holding short. If you are, for example, vacating the runway, my question is, do you have to stop in front of them or behind them when you are vacating the runway?
You can continue.
You can cross them.
Yeah, exactly. You can cross them, stop behind them, and then request for the clearance for taxiing. Or if it's an uncontrolled airport, just report that you are taxiing, I don't know, to the refueling station or to your stand.
So you can't cross them. So when you've crossed them, you have to stop. You can continue taxi.
Yeah, of course. If you are at a controlled airport, you will stop behind them, and then you will request for the clearance, for the taxi clearance.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, so basically, then we have like three different visual signs. First one are the mandatory instruction signs. Second one is the location signs, and then we have the direction, destination, and information signs. So for the mandatory signs, you can see it's the red background with the white inscription. For the location signs, is a black background with the yellow inscription. And then for the direction, destination, and information signs, is a yellow background with the black inscription. So we will speak about these visual signs in more detailed way in the airlaw lesson. But like right now, you will know that we have like three different visual signs. So the mandatory one, location one, and the direction and destination or information signs. Yeah. So this is, for example, for the runway. So runway 04, runway 22. This is for the location. So for example, this is the holding point Bravo, and this is for the direction and destination. So direction is for this arrow, and the destination or information signs, this is the information that this is the taxiway Juliet, and it's to the right. Yeah, so taxiway markings, as you can see. So what is this slide? What is this sign? Do you remember from the previous slide?
It means you're on Alpha, right?
Yeah. And like the name, the term is a location sign. Yeah. So this is the location sign, and this is the direction. So basically, it's like Alpha, taxiway Charlie is to the right, and taxiway Charlie is to the left as well. And taxiway Alpha is like continue to the northeast. Yeah. So we have the direction, location, direction, and basically the destination to the apron. These are location signs for the runway vacated, runway exit signs, and basically these are the intersection takeoff. So let's say that this one, you can see these two signs at this position on the right and on the left. What does it mean? That means that you have 2,500 meters to the right, and you have 2,500 meters to the left as well. So have you ever heard about the land and hold short operation? I mean, the FAA students. From Point Bravo, I will go back from Point Bravo. Yeah, let's say from Point Bravo. It can be from Point Bravo as an example. Yeah. So what about the FHQs? Have you ever heard about the land and hold short operation? Yes, so a land and hold operation, hold short operation, basically is a procedure used mainly in the USA when simultaneous operations such as the takeoffs and the landings are being conducted on intersecting runways, as you can see here. Yeah. Land and hold short operations with the abbreviation Lima Alpha Hotel Sierra Oscar may also be in effect. So land and hold short operation is an ATC procedure that may require your participation and compliance. So as pilot in command, PIC, you have the final authority to accept or decline any land and hold short operation. So if issued a land and hold short clearance, you must be aware of the reduced runway distance, for example, this one, up to this intersection or distances, and whether or not you can comply before accepting the clearance. You don't have to basically to accept the clearance, as I said, and pilot should only receive a land and hold short operation clearance when there is a minimum ceiling of 1,000 feet and 3 statute mile of visibility. And basically the runway holding position signs and markings are installed on those runways used for the land and hold short operation. The signs and markings are placed at the land and hold short operation point to aid you in determining where to stop and hold the aircraft, and are located prior to the runway or runways intersections. So basically the holding position sign has a white inscription with a black border around the numbers on a red background, and is installed adjacent to the holding position markings. If you accept a land and hold short clearance, you must comply so that no portion of the aircraft extends beyond these hold markings. If receiving clear to land instruction from the ATC, you are authorized to use the entire landing length of the runway and should disregard any land and hold short operations holding position markings located on the runway. If you are received and accept these instructions, you must stop short of the intersecting runway prior to the land and hold short operation signs and markings. Yeah, so basically that's the land and hold short operations. Plus, as we spoke about the uncontrolled airports, as I told you, sometimes it's happening that it's no one on the radio, so we have to do the blind transmission. And we have to be familiar with these uncontrolled aerodrome or airport signs, what they mean. So basically, let's start from the left top corner. So this sign T basically means that pilots take off and land towards the crossbar of the T. This T with the dot, takeoff and landing directions are not always the same. Plus, I would like to add that these signs are like common, like inside the theoretical exams as well. Yes, so you have to be familiar with them. This pattern is that you must keep your aircraft on the paved surfaces. This one with these black solid lines, you must take off and land on the paved surfaces, but other movements are not confined to paved surfaces. This one is like very common. Gliding is underway. Designed helicopter landing and takeoff area, so basically the helicopter pad. This one, these arrows, right-hand circuit, left-hand circuit. this red square with the one yellow stripe across it. This care should be taken due to the condition of the maneuvering area. This red square with two yellow stripes means you cannot land. In the middle, the image is basically the light aircraft may take off and land on the runway or another designed area. And the last one, basically the red square with the two parallel yellow stripes means land in emergency only. Then we have these flags on the right side, which means aircraft traffic control is in an operation. Green one means right-hand circuit pattern, left-hand circuit pattern, and pilot reporting point. So basically, like from my experience, signs be posted. Yeah, these signs will be posted on the ground. Of course, the flags, like not the flags, but these signs will be on the ground next to the wind correction angle, wind correction indicator. I'm sorry for that, and like next to the runway. Yeah. So once again, try to memorize these uncontrolled airport signs. Yeah, and for operations on controlled airports, but you can have the marshalling signals at uncontrolled airports as well. But you have to be familiar with them as well. So who is the marshaller or signalman? Do you know? The marshaller, like doesn't matter if it's a woman or man, shall be responsible for providing a standard marshalling signals to aircraft in a clear and precise manner. Exactly, ground stuff. The gliding is underway. That means that the gliding is underway in the ATZ on the aerodrome traffic pattern. Yeah. And you have to take this information account. Basically, only persons trained, qualified, and approved as required by the relevant authorities. Shall carry out the function of the marshaller. Yeah, sometimes someone is using the signalman, but I think the marshaller is the better term. The marshaller shall wear a distinctive fluorescent identification vest to allow the flight crew to identify that he or she is the person responsible for the marshalling operations. So basically here, you have these like basic and very common marshalling signals. I'm pretty sure that you have to know the straight ahead. I think straight ahead is here. So basically straight ahead means bend extended arms at elbows and move the ones up and down from chest height to head. Then if we have, for example, the turn to the left, as you can see here, so with right arm and went extended at a 90 degrees angle to a body, make a come ahead signal with the left hand. And that means to turn to the left. The rate of signal of the right hand or of the left hand depends to which turn you are performing. So the rate of the signal motion indicates to pilot the rate of aircraft turn. Turn to the right is vice versa. So with the left arm and one extended at 90 degrees. Normal stop, as you can see here, normal stop is this one. Normal stop is fully extend arms and wings at 90 degrees angle to sides and slowly move to above head until one cross. Then we have the emergency stop, which is basically an abruptly extend arms and ones to top of head crossing the runs. We can have also the starts engine, this one. Exactly. That's absolutely correct. Yeah, you are right. It has to be clear to the pilots, to the crew, and as you said, the instruction strictly follow at the moment of the site. Yeah, that's correct. Like then, for example, the starting the engine. So raise right arm to head level with wand pointing up and start a circular motion of this. Circular motion of this right hand at the same time with left arm raised above head level, point to engine to be started. So right now, open the worksheets, please. Yeah, let's open the worksheets and back to tasks. And yeah, let's start with the task number 3. Which runway designators are correct for 2 parallel runways? What do you think? What is the correct answer? 06 left
06
and
left and right.
Yeah.
Number 1.
That's correct. Thank you. Then one task about the. Thank you, Jeremy. That's correct. The term aerodrome elevation is defined as the highest point of the apron, the highest point of the landing area, or the average value of the height of the maneuvering area.
The highest point.
Yeah, the highest point. Exactly, on the landing area. That's absolutely correct. Thank you. Which statement is correct with regard to the term taxi holding point? A taxi holding point is only to be observed for IFR traffic instrument weather conditions are prevailing. A taxi holding point is the point at which the aircraft must stop unless further permission to proceed is given. Then a taxi holding point is designed to indicate it. Okay, so number 2.
Number 2.
That's correct. Okay, so what is shown on the printed sign here? At this point, runway is what do you think?
2,500 meters to the left.
Yeah, from this intersection, the available runway, as Duncan said, is 2,500 meters in the stated direction. So if we are looking from like our point of view to this sign, as Duncan said, it will be 2,500 meters or 2.5 kilometers to the left. Yeah, that's correct. Then, what is the purpose of the signal square at an aerodrome? Do you know? So it's a specially marked area to pick up or drop towing objects. Aircraft taxi to the square to get the light signals for taxi and takeoff clearance. It contains the special symbols to indicate the conditions at the aerodrome to overfly it. It is an illuminated area on which search and rescue and fire. So I absolutely agree with Duncan, Yusuf, Russi, Ryan. That is the option number 3. That's correct. Yeah, so then we have these signs and basically these options. Yeah, so let's say, what does it mean, this one?
right-hand circuit.
Right-hand circuit in force. So let's put it there. This one makes sense. It means left-hand circuit in force. What does it mean, this one? You have these three signs. We have landing is prohibited, landing in emergency only, and care should be taken due to the condition of the maneuvering areas.
Care should be taken, first one.
Then this one is two parallel stripes.
Emergency.
Let's put the emergency there. And the last one will be landing prohibited. Yeah, so let's try it. And of course, it's correct. Yeah. So thank you for your participation. Then we will try to answer it on the task number 9, which is the same. So we have these 5 signs. So this T, the first T means what? We have gliding in process, takeoff and land in the direction of the shaft of the T.
Takeoff and land.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have the T with this like small circle with this small dot on the top.
In different direction. It's not always in the same direction.
Okay. This one, Joanna.
Gliding.
Gliding in process.
Gliding, exactly. Thank you, guys. Yeah. And then we have this one. Difference. Takeoff and landing by airplanes and gliders must take place on the runway, but ground movement is not confined to paved or hard surface. So first one or second?
The all ground movement of airplanes and gliders is confined to paved or hard surfaces.
So this one is the first one, eh? Or the second one?
No, this one's the second one. That's the
Okay.
first one. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you guys for your participation. And let's proceed back to our presentation for a last couple of slides. So I'm pretty sure that you already saw somewhere at the airport the PAPI, which is the Precision Approach Path Indicator. Basically, the Precision Approach Path Indicator uses the lights similar to another systems, but except that they are installed in a single row, normally on the left side of the runway. So basically, if you can see 4 white lights, what does it mean for you? That you are above your glide path for the approach, or you are high. This means that you can see 3 white and 1 red means that you are slightly above your glide path for the approach. What is optimum, what is perfect is when you can see 2 white and 2 red lights. That means you are exactly on the glide path. When you can see, and vice versa, when you can see more red lights than the white one, that means that you are below. So in case of 3 lights, you are slightly low. In case of 4 lights, you are very low or low. And basically these are for the, so this is 4 white, this is 2 and 2, and this is 4 red. Yeah, so 4 white, like I would say here, it's some like 3 white, 1 red, 2 white, and that works exactly. That works for every type of aircraft. Yeah, that works for every type. Yeah, so you can use it with Cessna 152, you can use it with Piper, you can use it with Boeing. And this one is slightly below the glide path, so 3 red, 1 white, and 4 red lights. Plus, we have also the runway lightning, but we will speak about lightning in the air law class. But just like introduction for that runway lights must emit a steady white light from a threshold up to distance of 900 meters before the end, and then they are changing alternately red and white colors from 900 meters to 300 meters to the end, and from the 300 meters to the end of the runway, it's only red one. The threshold, basically that's like, yeah, you were right, yeah. Controlled airspaces, but for like these like bigger runways, yeah? Yeah, so basically on this image, on this picture, you can see the puppy on the left. You can see one white light and 3 red lights. So you are, yeah, low, exactly, Duncan. Plus you can see here threshold is a line of green lights. So this is the threshold of this runway. Threshold is here. And you can see the white lights on the runway center line, and end of the runway is line of red lights. So basically you can see, like on this example it's not visible, but on this example, on this picture it's more visible. You can see this line of the red lights. So this was for the runway lighting. And then like which is like from the beginning it's like quite confusing, the color. Yeah, so especially this blue and green. What is the center taxiway lights? What are the center taxiway lights, and what are the edge taxiway lights? And so try to memorize it. That blue one are the taxiway edge lights. So this one. Taxiway center lights are green. And of course, the holding points lights are yellow. As Jeremy asked, where are the like position? What is the position of the? For example, uncontrolled aerodrome signs? So the position of the uncontrolled aerodrome signs. If you will take the example of this, for example, runway, the signs will be here, yeah, next to the windsocks and next to the wind direction indicator. Then you have like the airport beacon, like not only the lights, but we have the airport beacon. So basically, it looks like that, as you can see here on the picture on the right top corner. And basically, we have these 4 like options: civilian land airport, which flashing white and green; civilian water airport, which flashing white and yellow; heliport flashing white, yellow, and green; and military airport flashing 2 white and 1 green. Yeah, you have to be familiar with this like airport beacon, but Yerusi?
Yeah. So here in Iceland, we've got a like beacon of sorts, and when they're flashing white and green, they say it's VFR conditions. That's what they say. Is that
for VFR, yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. But I want to say that like I've never saw this like airport beacon. Yeah.
Oh, they.
Yeah,
they have
like,
them.
Yeah, it's like we have to. I want to speak about it. You have to be familiar with this like airport beacon, with this like 4 options, with the civilian water airport. But like I've never saw this airport beacon in the real flight. Yeah, so like I don't have experience.
Come to Iceland and you'll see.
Yeah. And then we have the pilot. Usually, as far as I know, usually like next to the tower. Yeah. Then at some uncontrolled airports, and usual and some uncontrolled airport. For example, here in Czech Republic, we have this pilot controlled lightning, this PCL, Papa Charlie Lima, yeah? Aircraft radio control on of aerodrome lightning, or pilot activated lightning. Yeah, so for example, I know that one airport in the Czech Republic, if you will set like the prepared frequency for that, and you will click twice on the communication button on your control yoke, you will twice or like 3 times or 4 times, I don't know, I'm not sure, you will like basically turn on the lightning. Yeah, will turn on the runway lights. Yeah, which is like very like useful when you are, for example, landing at night. And of course, the airport is like you have some like agreement with the authority of the airport that you can land there during the night, and you can do this aircraft radio control of aerodrome lightning as well. Yeah, but which is basically the system, as I said, that allows aircraft pilots to control the lightning of an airport. Runway edge lights, maybe sometimes the taxiway, but usually only the runway lights. And basically, as I already said, the airport illumination through the transmit the button on like some specified frequency, radio frequency. Yeah, so usually I think it's more common and it's more often in US than in Europe. Yeah, and 7 times within the 5 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, we have it actually in Denmark on
Yeah,
several
really?
places.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, if you make it twice, then the lights are getting, I mean, it's brighter. And if you make it 3 times, and then the taxiways also, the lightning of the taxiways is also started. But we have it maybe on more than 10 airports here.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Good to hear. So, like it's around the world, as I can see. So yeah, we have like on some airports we have these options. And I know only like 1 or 2 airports in the Czech Republic where it is possible to do that. And like you know that we spoke about like in the beginning I spoke about I told you about the standardized European rules of the air, and basically the from this document, from this regulation, we are taking the information and we have to follow them. Yeah, but Flying Academy as like approved training organizations, Flying Academy has its own operational manual, and then according to this operational manual, we have like these like student minimas which we have to like follow. Yeah, for example, TORA takeoff run available is 600 meters or more. Crosswind component, so maximum 50% demonstrated crosswind component for Cessna 152 is 12 knots. But as you can see, maximum 50%. So basically for a student, when you are flying alone, you don't have the license. So for a student, according to operational manual of Flying Academy, is only 6 knots. Yeah, exactly, Nikita. Minimum visibility for the students when they are releasing for a solo, it's 8 kilometers, and cloud base, which is the ceiling, yeah, minimum 2,000 feet above ground level. And landing distance available is minimum landing distance required multiplied by this factor, multiplied by 1.67. So if I will show, because this is the last slide, so if I will show you where is the operational manual of Flying Academy, so if you will open the LMS, I hope it is working. Yeah, sorry about the internet connection. Anyway, in the meantime, we can finish our task from the worksheet. So please open the worksheets, your worksheet, and let's start with the task number 10, which is about the PAPI, which is about the precision approach path indicator. And we have these 4 examples. You should have the access for the worksheet from your
Yeah,
LMS.
the next task isn't opening up for some reason.
I think LMS is down again.
Yeah, looks like. Yeah. So, like, I will show you the operational manual of Flying Academy on the next lesson about the student minimas and so on, and like some other important information for you as a students. So yeah, if we will, yeah. So something is wrong with the LMS again. So basically, do you have any question about the aerodrome operations or about the communications, about anything? We have like around 5 minutes. Because like we are not sure if the attendance is working. So I would like to kind of ask you to write down your full and real name to the chat, yeah, please. And I will like, I hope the attendance from the worksheet is working, but anyway, I will like, as a backup, let's use this system. Because I'm pretty sure that you want to have the attendance in your training records for this class. Yeah, thank you, Anna. Thank you, John. And for the Friday, it will be like the lesson about the airframes, I think. RGK, yeah. So how many of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Already working. Yeah. Again, yeah. And
Yeah, worksheet's working now, by the way.
And please do not forget about the homework sheet, yeah? Well, which I hope I will send you the link to the chat.